Sanibonani babukeli. Welcome to this week's exciting edition of your favorite program, Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Uhlelo kombukeli olulethela konke ukuthinta amalungelo enjengabathengi la eNingizimu Afrika. Uyazi ke lo umangcolosi uAlicia uNonhlanhla igama. Bukeli ukuzama phela ukuthola imali yakhe emntwini. Hey, akuyona ngempela into elule. Kodwa ukumletha ngaphambi kwenkantolo phela yemibango emincane phecelezi ama-small claims court yinto engaziwa abantu abaningi futhi nokuthi uthola usizo ngaphandle kokuthi ukhokhe imali eshisiwe. Sikhuluma nje namanje kunohlelo lwezinkantolo lezi elenzela ukuthi lukusebenzele wena ngokusheshsha. Bokela ukusitshela kabanzi ke ngokuthi yini entsha kuleli uhlelo lwezinkantolo zama-small claims court futhi nokuthi zisebenzela kanjani singabathengi masamukele uMr Modise Molekoa. He's the acting chief director of court operations support at the Department of Justice as well as Correctional Services. Baba kunjani Baba Modise, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Welcome.
Thanks for welcoming me.
Siyabonga baba kakhulu. Yazi sifuna ukwazi lana baba mesikhuluma nge-small claims court ihluke kanjani lenkantolo from normal courts or magistrates court kanye namanye ezinye inkantolo ejwayela abantu baba.
Okay, maybe to crystallize your question, I need to start first by indicating that within our court system we have the constitutional court, we've got the appellate division, we've got the high courts, we have the lower courts which are made of your district courts as well as the regional courts. Now the small claims court is the lowest on the tier of our court system. The processes in the small claims court has been made to be very simple and cost effective as well as very speedily. With the advent of the small claims court, we're doing away with all your complex legal processes that one would have to endure when you visit the magistrate's office.
All right, so Baba Modise, maybe let's talk about, okay, I appreciate what is the difference there. Who would then have to go to the small claims court, or bani abantu specifically that have access to a small claims court?
The people that are entitled to file a claim or to lodge a claim at the small claims courts are your normal persons. In law, you've got a natural person, that is me or you, person in flesh. And you'll have what is called your jurisdict person, which is a company. For small claims court, only a natural person, that is a person like you and me, can go and lodge a claim with a small claims court.
Okay, but Bengisho Hlampe Baba, in the context yoguthi, what kind of issues does the small claims court specifically deal with? Is it monetary issues? Is it smaller amounts of money? Because there's a specific amount, because we're trying to give that background information. This is how the small claims court actually works. All right, before you answer, actually, I'm going to take a quick ad break because after the break, I'm going to be taking your calls. In number, it should be on your screen just now. We're coming back shortly after this. Ninga Indao. Welcome back. Usabheke Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1. Ungasithola futhi na ku SABC Plus. Ukuthi ubambe iqhaza mbukeli nazi inamba 0117140069, alternatively 7140670, consumer@sabc.co.za. That is of course our email address. Uma wena mhlawumbe ufuna ukusibhalela usitshela ukuthi indaba yakho ithini. Ungasithola ke futhi on our social media platforms nakhona lapha ku Facebook. My guest today, Ubaba Modise Molekoa, is the acting chief director, court operations support report at the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Sikhuluma ke mbukeli ngokuthi ama-small claims court njengoba kuthiwa aya-improviwa also imaphi lama programs awabo amasha enzela ukuthi phela kusebenzeke efficiently amalokhuzana amacaleni umeni wayesakhona kusheshe kube nama-resolutions ngoba phela sithi hey abantu abasikhokhela imali zethu singahlali u-50 years imali zethu singayitholi. You can call us in studio. So Baba Modise, we're talking about of course the rules and regulations mawuya elokhuzana small claims court. So how does the process unfold ukuthi ngiyolodja i-complaint yami e-small claims court? Can I come a small claims court after having gone to the high court, the magistrates court, and then revert back to you guys? Or I can just decide ngivuke ekuseni ukuthi vele le mali engiyikolotwa is less than 20,000 rand or up to 20,000 rand. Let me just go straight to a small claims court.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. As you're rightfully indicating, the jurisdiction amount is 20,000. You cannot go to a small claims court to lodge a claim for anything above 20,000.
Okay.
But now, if you decide there is somebody that is owing you money, if you decide there is somebody that you have maybe the person is occupying your residence or has taken over your stand, provided that property or that stand, the value thereof must not be more than 20,000.
Okay.
You are at liberty at any given time to approach one of our courts. We have 400.
Where are they situated? Would they be in the same district as the magistrates court or Zigupi zone, Baba Modise?
Yes, completely. We've got about 415 magistrates courts right through the country. And at each and every court, there is a small claims court that is sitting. If you want to lodge a claim, you approach the court. There will be a specially trained clerk of the small claims court that will assist you. The first process would be you need to firstly write a letter of demand to whoever that is owing you. And in the letter of demand, you need to set out what gave rise to your claim and the amount of claim. And then that person must be given about 14 days before he or she can pay the money back.
Okay.
If that is not happening, you can then approach the very same clerk of court that will assist you to issue out summonses to the person of the respondent, that is the person that is owing you money.
Okay. So which matters in particular can then be referred to the small claims court, Baba Modise?
Number one, it would be matters for, in case me and you,
we owe each other money?
Yes, I borrowed you money and you have taken time to pay me back. In some instances, I'm the owner of a vehicle. I take my vehicle for you for repairs and all that. You want me to pay the deposit, I give you the deposit. Time goes by without you fixing my car, and I can go to the small claims court and
reclaim that money.
And reclaim the money back.
Okay. What else can be dealt with at the small claims court?
Again,
do issues of evictions or disputes arising from non-payal of rent and so forth, do such things qualify to be taken to the small claims court? But of course, withstanding that amount here, 20,000 rand.
Yes, those they form part of the jurisdiction of the small claims courts. As a complainant, you can as well approach the court for an ejectment order. Suppose you've got a person that is renting out at your place. This person does not want to pay, and he does want to stay for free.
Okay.
And then you decide whether you want to claim the rental value, and again, if you want to apply for the ejectment of that person from your premises.
Okay. So that how would that then work if you want to evict the person or you want to take them to the small claims court? How would that, isn't that a parallel type of action on behalf of the landlord there?
No, it's not. All what you need to do, you cannot decide on the two.
Okay.
It's either you apply for, you want your money, or you want to eject the person.
Oh, so it can only be one of those two. So you can't really institute like two cases against an individual of the same nature.
No, 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 you can't.
Okay,
you
all
can't.
right. Okay, so then, do I need a lawyer to represent me in a small claims court?
Not at all. That is the only court setup where you are not allowed to bring a lawyer, be it a claimant or be it the respondent.
Okay.
The processes are such that the presiding officer there is the commissioner that is appointed by the minister.
Okay.
And these commissioners must be admitted attorneys. Before they can even be appointed, the Legal Practice Council must give the certificate of good standing. And in some instances, you will have your the officials from the Legal Aid South Africa who are attorneys by profession. They can be appointed as well to preside over matters in the small claims court, as well as magistrates.
Okay.
But the processes are very much simple. They are not reminiscent of what you can get.
It's more of an engagement, like a resolution type of setup, instead of going to the formal court where you appear before the judge and so forth. So it's kind of like mediation.
Yeah, it's nearly very informal in the sense that even the commissioners, as you know, in your normal court setup, our courts would be courts of record.
Yes.
As you can see, if you go to the courtroom, you'll see a lot of some flashing lights indicating proceedings are being recorded. But in the small claims court environment, there is nothing like that. The commissioner must just make notes with longhand, and as and when the two parties are engaging in some form of altercations, the commissioner is there to guide the proceedings.
Mediate. Oh, okay. And how binding are their judgments? I heard you say just now that once the ruling is made, of course, the person that is ruled against has 14 days to settle the matter. But how legally binding are those judgments, where do you not get situations where the person has been judged and they are told to repay a certain amount, but they just decide, look, we're not going to pay that amount?
The order of the commissioner is an order of the court. Their judgments are binding. Okay. And if, for instance, you have been ordered to pay a certain amount and you don't pay, whoever is the judgment debtor can apply, can go back to the
commissioner, the court.
No, you go back to the court. Okay. And just inform the clerk of the court that the amount remains
unsettled, as per the court order, the judgment that was done by the commissioner.
And then immediately the clerk of the court will then issue a warrant of execution and hand it over to the sheriff, who would be instructed as per law to go and ensure that the judgment is satisfied.
So uyezwa ke mbukela ukuthi lento iyasebenza ngale ndlela efuneka ngayo. Sistelma eGarankuwa, thank you so much for joining us. Akwamukela ohlelweni, singakusiza kanjani namhlanje? Sistelma? All right, it seems like we've lost Umam Thelma on the line there. Mbukeli, you can call us Nazi number Lapho, as well as our email address. We're back shortly after this. We're still discussing all things small claims courts. Don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back. You're still tuned in to Yilungelo Lakho here on SABC 1 as well as SABC Plus, 011-714-0669, alternatively 714-0670, consumer@sabc.za. We're also available on all our social media platforms. All right, my guest today, Ubaba Modise Molekoa, yenage uvela lapha at Department of Justice. Mbukeli uyasinceda ukuthi asazise ukuthi how are the small claims court functioning? Yini uluphi usizo rather thola umania a small claims court futhi yini ozoyidinga if uzoya kwabeka icala lakho lapha a small claims court. And Modise kutla ure there's new rules now that are regulating matters that are submitted to small claims courts, new versus old. Can you please just give us a brief of how the new rules actually differ from the old ones?
Okay. No, thanks. As and when every little piece of legislation comes to implementation, it is only during implementation where we can identify gaps here and there. Now, the small claims courts was not an isolated incident, where there were rules that we noted they needed to be changed. For instance, in the past, we did not have what we can call the duties of the clerks were not adequately set out in the regulations.
Okay.
Secondly, we did not have the counterclaim by the defendant, or I will explain it in this fashion. Before I can explain that, let me come to the consent to judgment. In the past, a summons will be issued, a date will be set, then the respondent will come on the day that the hearing it's
sitting down. It's been set down, yeah.
Yes. It is the only time where the respondent would say, no, I agree, I owe this person 20,000. Or no, I agree, I owe this. How do I make arrangements?
Okay.
Now, in terms of the new regulations, when we issue out summonses, we issue out the consent to judgment as well.
Okay.
So that if the respondent is agreeing, he can indicate there on the spot to say, I agree to 1, 2, 3. Suppose the claim is 20,000. The respondent is saying, no, I know 10,000. The other 10,000 that the claimant is talking about, I don't know. So he can admit part of the claim.
Okay.
And then this other one, if he wishes to contest, that is the one that can be decided for by the commissioner. So that was not there previously.
Okay.
Secondly, we had challenges with some of the sheriffs where they were charging exorbitant fees for service of processes.
Yeah.
Because that was not clearly regulated in terms of the regulations. Now, the regulations are very clear. There are set tariffs. If you go to a small claims court now, you know for certain that if you were to serve summonses, you cannot serve it yourself for whatever reason. You want sheriffs to do it on your behalf. You know that you will pay between 45 rand and whether 70 rand or 63 rand.
Yeah.
It cannot go beyond that. So there is certainty now as regards to your fees that are applicable to the sheriffs other than in the past.
Okay.
Now, in terms of, again, the new rules, we are taking cognizance of the fact that technology is with us. Unlike in the past, now you can apply if you are called on to attend a hearing and you are in Joburg, the hearing is somewhere in Lephalale, in Limpopo. You can apply 3 days before to the clerk to say, look, I'm prepared to come over, but can the court please allow me to attend virtually?
Virtually, oh wow.
That can happen, which was not there in the previous regulations.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay, so things are improving with technology as well. All right, so Ntate Modise, refeta ubuaga matters that can be attended to by the small claims court, but which matters then are excluded completely from being brought onto the small claims court?
Number one, it will be for dissolution of marriages. Our people, they would have a customary union that is not registered and all that. Some would attempt to come to court to say, no, I'm no longer interested in this relationship. And
I heard to small claims?
Yes, I heard the small claims court is the quickest way of getting justice.
Okay.
Your dissolution of marriages, it's a no-go area.
Okay.
Yes. Claims for damages, either for malicious prosecution, for unlawful arrest, for damages, for
civil cases,
those
criminal cases.
The criminal cases, the no-go area.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just to sum it up.
Yes. And even the validity of the will, you cannot go to the small claims court to say, I want to challenge the will.
Okay, all right. Let's try our lines again. Sis Beatrice here in Johannesburg. Thank you so much for joining us. Beatrice, can you hear me? Hello, Sis Beatrice, can you hear me? All right, it looks like we are struggling with our lines today. Our technicians are currently attending to the situation. Do keep trying to give us those calls. 011-714-0669, alternatively 714-0670. Okay, Ntate Modise, so now that you've just explained those matters that can't be brought to court, can I then institute a claim against an unemployed person or a person who possesses nothing of monetary value, but they still owe me? That's a tricky one, right?
No, not really tricky. I guess if you've got a
What
claim,
would the court take into account? That this person obviously at some point used to work, that is why they are owing this amount. And then, but looking at the current situation, Yoguti, they're no longer working, they got retrenched or resigned from work. Like, how would the commissioner then make judgment around that?
it wouldn't be for you as the claimant to worry about that.
Okay,
Isn't it
I'm
that
worried about it.
You are owed money.
Yes.
What is it that you must be worried about is for you to
They
get
must
your
sell
money.
their socks if they have to.
The best would be you go to the small claims court. The commissioner would then have to undertake what is called the investigation into the financial position of this person.
Okay.
Because how many people would claim they don't have nothing only to find they've got money somewhere?
So are you saying that they'll go and do a wider-reaching investigation into ensuring that really this person is desolate, doesn't have funds,
Yeah,
or
the commissioner
probably
would,
try and recoup funds somewhere?
Yeah.
And if they can't find it, what happens then? What is the ruling? They're very interested in that.
Well, if they can't find any and judgment is still in your favor,
Yeah.
there is nothing that prevents the commissioner from giving judgment in your favor.
Okay.
Whether this person does not have money or what, but he will stay or she will stay with the judgment against him or her.
Okay.
And at some time, you'll never know what luck, how many or when can luck strike. So, and the person have money and settle the amount.
Ah, okay. I see. Mbukela has been the first together. Please join us shortly after this. Mugeli, welcome back. You're still tuned into Yilungelo Lakho Mamba Pambili, SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. We're also coming to you on, of course, the SABC Plus, where you can stream us there. 011-714-0669, alternatively 011-714-0670. I will, however, tell you, Guti, I'm having a bit of trouble with my lines this afternoon, live studio Mugeli. So please bear with me. Keep trying. We are trying to attend to the issue. Ukuthi ngikwazi phela ukuthi ningibuze lo mbuzo njengomama Beatrice nje singasakhona ukumthola. Please keep trying. Ngihleli la nobaba uModise Molekoa ovela iDepartment of Justice, and we're still talking about the functions and the role of course, a small claims court. All right, Ntate Modise, so step by step now, how does one go and institute a claim? So let's go from you've decided, Hori, this person has wasted too much time without paying you. How much time should that be, like legally? And then what documents do they need to bring? And then where do they go? And how do they register and so forth? Just the whole complete steps.
Yeah, no, let me start from the first step until the last. The first step, as I've indicated earlier, it's for the complainant to approach our courts to issue a letter of demand. Firstly, the letter of demand must contain the basis upon which the claim is based. And the letter of demand must indicate as well the date on which the claim arose.
Okay.
Now, the letter of demand can be served by either the representative of the claimant or the sheriff.
Okay.
Once the letter has been served, it's important that there be what we call a return of service.
Okay.
A return of service from the sheriff will be proof that the respondent has in fact been served with a letter of demand.
Yes.
Then,
so they can't make an excuse, I didn't receive the summonses and so forth.
It's very important for the return of service And if it's the respondent, if the claimant himself or his representative, there must be a statement from them indicating that they've already served the respondent with the letter of demand.
Okay.
Then the respondent is having 14 days to pay.
Okay.
And if 14 days lapses without anything, the claimant would then have to go back to the small claims court. The clerk would then assist in issuing summonses. Mm-hmm. The summonses would normally contain the particulars of the claimant, as well as the basis upon which the claim is based, and the date on which the claim arose, and as well as the relief sought. Mm-hmm. The relief sought, it's important because if you approach the court, we cannot give you what you did not ask for.
Yeah.
If you say you need ejectment, we cannot say no, let him pay you rent.
Okay.
We give you what you want.
Oh, I see.
So after the service has been given, the respondent, that summonses, they go with your consent to judgment form. Mm-hmm. If the respondent wishes to admit that indeed I know I owe this person, he will have to complete in the required forms that will go along with the summonses. Mm-hmm. If he decides he's admitting 10,000, suppose
part of the claim,
of the claim,
yeah,
he need to depose a statement upon which the basis of his defense.
Okay.
Why is he disputing that?
Okay.
That would then be handed over to the court, and it will be the duty of the clerk of court to arrange a date for the hearing.
Okay.
The respondent will be informed, and as I've already indicated, you don't need lawyers there.
Yeah, yeah.
The respondent will be informed. If the respondent is having witnesses, if he's having receipts documents or whatever, he will be required to bring along those. Same with the claimant. He will be required to bring everything.
Okay.
Then if he's got witnesses, he will be required to bring the witnesses. Okay. If, for instance, it's a matter between a Zulu speaking and a Shangaan speaking, the claimant, one is speaking this language, one is speaking this other language, the court would arrange an interpreter that would assist them in the language of their choice.
Do they need to indicate this prior to the hearing, though, to the actual sitting, that they need an interpreter for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, Modise, this sounds like a lengthy process, and we know, like many other courts in South Africa, the current struggle, basically we're sitting under the narrative justice is always delayed because there's so many backlogs, cases are taking forever to even go to court, witnesses are dying, and so forth and so forth. So time-wise, how long is resolution time from me lodging the claim to actually getting a resolution, and getting judgment? Within the time frames of the small claims court, I think the only longest time that you can think of, which is very short, is the 14 days. Okay, just when you are waiting for... Yes, just when you are waiting for... So when I submit or lodge my claim, how long before then I'm called in to come and appear alongside my respondent? There is 14 days. Okay. The original 14 days. Okay. And after 14 days elapses, the rules requires that you give the respondent at least 10 days. At least 10 days before the date of the trial. So you can count it's almost a month. It's almost a month, yeah. And cost-wise, how much are we paying here from lodging? I know you mentioned, of course, there has to be payment for sheriffs that have to deliver the summonses and letters of demand and so forth. But how much is this whole process of claiming via the small claims court? Ideally, we should not be paid. Is it supposed to be free? It's supposed to be free, in the sense that as a claimant, you can deliver the letter of demand yourself. Okay. As a claimant or your representative, because it so happens that between me and you, we remember courts are courts. Yes.
people come to court because they could not find each other at home.
Exactly. So I'm not going to be willing to go and be the one that is delivering the summonses and the letter of demand, because I've probably tried multiple times.
But that is correct. You have another avenue of authorizing somebody other than you.
Yeah. So then you just need to be cognizant of the fact that for the services of the sheriff, which is an external part, it's not an internal part of the court, then there has to be payment, which is between, you were saying, 15 to 70 rand.
45 rand
to 70 rand.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all that they need to pay for. Is that all that they need to pay for?
No, that is the only thing that they need to pay for. And unless and until there is a judgment that was not satisfied, and you go back to court to apply for an ejectment or maybe, to put it bluntly, an execution of the judgment.
I
see. That is when you will go back to the sheriff, because if the judgment is to the effect that you must go and take your imbuzi or whatever, then you know this person is very it's not unfriendly and not welcoming. The sheriff is empowered by law to call the police to assist him to execute the warrant.
Hold it then, Tate Modise Molekoa. Let's take another quick ad break. Uyezwa kuthiwa noma uyolanda imbuzi ke nje ungahamba ne-sheriff nihambe niyoyilanda leyo mbuzi noma inkomo yakho le abangafuni ukuyibuyisa. We're coming back shortly after this. Ninga indawo. Okay, welcome back. Still coming to you live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure, as well as, of course, streaming on SABC Plus. My guest today, Tate Modise Molekoa. He's the Acting Chief Director, Court Operations Support at the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Tate Modise, so now let's get into the rights of the defendant and appeals. Are we even able to use the word appeal when it comes to the Commissioner's rulings pertaining to the Small Claims Court? Is that even a proper term to use in that regard?
No.
So I can't appeal the Commissioner's judgment on how the case was handled, for example. Whatever was ruled, is that a final ruling, and then I can't take it up into another court or something else?
Appeal, it's another... It's a bit of a harsh word to use in small claims court matters. In as much as the judgments of the commissioners are binding, but the aggrieved party has a right to apply for a review.
Okay, it's a review. Now there's a better word, yes. Okay.
It's a review.
Okay.
How the review works, it's suppose the commissioner has ruled in either one's favor. The one party feels that he wants to take the process for review.
Especially if somebody only agreed to part of my claim, you know? Remember when we were talking about you bring a person for 20,000 and they only agreed to 10. I'm definitely going to ask for a review if I've got proof.
All right, but if you go to review, you cannot just go for review and cite all sorts of reasons.
Okay.
Number one, you need to state in your affidavit that there was gross irregularity by
the commissioner.
Yes, in terms of procedure. You need to prove an element of malice. Malice is bad intentions on the part of the commissioner.
He's favoring the other party.
That the commissioner was biased towards you, that the commissioner had an interest in the case. And lastly, you can argue the issue of jurisdiction, that the court did not have jurisdiction.
Oh, I see.
But that will be a bit of a mountain to climb.
Yeah, because I mean, they're already appearing virtually. If people are also, I mean, you did mention that I can just approach my local my local small claims court wherever I am. So it doesn't matter if somebody owes me money, they're in Durban and I'm in Joburg. I reside in Joburg, that person stays in Durban. Jurisdiction is still in Gauteng and it's not an issue. No. If the person is staying in KZN,
in KZN, then it's here.
Okay.
The only reason the court would have jurisdiction is only if the subject matter of the cause of action could be maybe a house
Okay.
or a stand
Okay.
that person is owning.
Okay.
So if it's there, the court will not have jurisdiction. The court is only having jurisdiction because the subject matter at hand, it's within its area of jurisdiction.
Okay.
Or that person is there, but it's having businesses where the court is having jurisdiction.
All right. So what do I then need to prepare as either the applicant or the respondent for the hearing? Because you did mention we can't bring attorneys, so I presume it would be the documents, the receipts.
Yeah, it will be the receipts that way your claim is based on. If you are the respondent, if you allege that you did make some payments and all that, if you have got witnesses to prove your case, you'll bring your witnesses along. If maybe one of the parties, it's an issue around a traditional site that was allocated to Eva, I guess the traditional council, either one or them, they must come and give evidence.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
All right. And then what happens if, let's say, the respondent doesn't arrive on the date of the hearing and they basically did not indicate that they want to be virtual, they just basically just didn't respond to the court date, to the hearing date?
Yes, I guess the issue of the return of service that I spoke to earlier on comes into the picture.
Okay.
The commissioner.
But wouldn't that be absconding then?
No. The commissioner would want to know, was the defendant properly served?
Yes.
If there is no proof of service, the commissioner is not going to make any adverse finding against that person. They will rather postpone the case for another day where proof of service of the defendant would be obtained. If the respondent was served, there is proof. Either
by
from
the sheriff
or the statement of either the complainant himself or the complainant's representative.
Okay.
The commissioner is having all the rights to give the judgment in the absence of the defendant.
Okay. And in that case, the judgment stands, whether or not the person did attend court, as long as there was proof that this person was actually served and they did not come to court. That, in that case, is absconding. They just didn't want to come to court.
Yes, but the rules are not just hard and fast.
Yeah.
Suppose the court makes judgment today, then tomorrow you get an indication that the very respondent, in fact, was hospitalized. It was not because of his own making that
they didn't attend
they
the
did
proceedings.
not attend and all that.
Yeah.
In that way, the commissioners are not hard and fast.
Okay.
Yes.
But then that means the person that didn't attend would have to then provide the proof that they were not.
Yes.
Okay. So what do I do then if I'm the one that receives summons? Am I compelled to defend the claim?
Unfortunately, you have to.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you don't,
it's just going to be ruled.
Yeah, it will be the complainant's weight against himself or herself. And you have lost your right to defend the matter. And whatever that is claimed would be, unfortunately, be awarded.
All right. And in terms of successful mediations, because we're not going to call them prosecutions here in Modise, in terms of your rate of successful mediations, what is the response from the public in terms of how you actually actioned out all these orders and actually literally served the masses that have come to you seeking help?
Until lately, the previous regulations did not make provision for reviews.
Okay.
And we are now seeing applications for reviews. The new regulations came into effect from the 1st of April this year.
Okay.
Already there are those that are, the applications for reviews are trickling in. But now we need to be mindful of the fact that the review process involves the rules of the High Court. And you will need an attorney to attend to those.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now let's talk about, is there a specific amount of time since unkile pudiaka and akaupadela And then between that time and me coming to small claims court and saying, Muto unkile budia gaga 2014, they still haven't paid or reimbursed me. I've tried every means to try and collect my money, mara still abasompatal. What we call that basically, bareging. There's a word for it, but basically iskati that is allowed prescription time between the times of me actually giving you that goat and you not paying me. Is there any time? So I can come to the small claims court after 4 years of trying to reason with you. Is there such a determination?
No, prescription happens in all civil litigations.
Okay. So in this case, then what happens? So it's 3 years.
It's 3 years.
So you can't come for a claim that has been ongoing for over 3 years.
That is correct.
Oh, okay.
That is correct.
All right. All right. And then, but what is the success rate also of the orders that are given out? Do you get people that are coming back and saying, you know what, we're very happy with, of course, the order. The person actually did finally pay after so many years of me trying to engage with them and them being miser, that the Modise.
The challenging part is, as I said,
yeah.
Courts normally, we serve a bit of angry people. That are not friendly. That are not friendly, and when there is judgment, the judgment cannot always favor both of them.
Yeah,
they come to both angry. Mm-hmm. When they go back, the one is happy, the other one is still angry.
Is even more angry.
Yes. Now, half the time, or most of the time, we don't even get a feedback from them to come to say, thank you very much. Okay. I managed to get what was due to me.
Okay.
They just go in silence, and we will just pick up through the social media.
Oh, no, they received
that things are fine.
And then you were talking about some interesting news there, and you going digital as well. What digital services do you have besides the one that you mentioned earlier, where you can apply online for virtual appearance as well? I mean, we know that courts are basically being digitized only now, and that is still going to be a long process. But how far are you guys from reaching a target?
It's still work in progress. Mm-hmm. Our department is seriously on overdrive in terms of
digital age. Yeah.
Yes. So
Uchahore, as it is, no, I'm not able to maybe pull an application form of your website or anything like that, make it fill up before I have to come and actually lodge the actual claim myself.
You mean on the
digital platform? Is there no services like that?
I guess that can be made available. Mm-hmm. We have our departmental website, that is www.justice.gov.za. Mm-hmm. All the forms that are used in the small claims courts, in the domestic violence, your protection from harassment, they are there, they can be downloaded.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And then are they able to, do you have a call center where people actually deal with those things, or they can just download them, but they have to physically return them to the actual premise of the court?
Yeah, I guess given the nature of the small claims courts, our clerks are properly trained. Mm-hmm. We encourage those that wants to use our services to visit all the courts. Mm-hmm. As I've already indicated, all 415 courts in the country, they have the desk for small claims court. Mm. They can at any given time approach or visit the court for assistance.
And then public knowledge and awareness around all these things that you have, and that is particularly around the new rules that you mentioned earlier. Are you going on drives to try and sensitize or conscientize people, make them aware of all these great things that you've got going on, particularly in your small claims court?
I guess this is one of the platforms where we want to reach as many communities as possible. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're on the right platform,
yes,
so that's one.
Not in the very distant future. Our provincial offices would be with the local community radio stations.
Okay.
Just to sensitize members of the community about the new rules and what is it that they can expect when they come to the
The small claims
Yes,
court.
because there is too many of them that were not so happy about
Exactly.
sheriffs and all that.
And I'm sure also, Ndate Modise, also as we're closing, I mean, it also might just lift the weight off that is literally dead weight, more the magistrates court and the high courts, because those people are literally going the wrong route instead of coming directly to you. Ndate Modise, thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Mbukele Khaya, sesifike kanjalo at the end of our show. That was Obaba Modise Molekoa. He's the Acting Chief Director, Court Operations Support at the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Got this is a small claims court. Unfortunately, I couldn't take your calls today, but hopefully next time, last is with a new consumer affairs topic and discussion of the week. Small claims court so go and get the information.
Yilungelo.